In modern times, technology has brought us things that once seemed impossible. It keeps growing and makes life easier every day. But when we look closely at ancient Egypt, our idea of past inventions completely changes. Still thinking hard about it? Then stay with us, because we're showing 15 ancient Egyptian technologies that modern engineers still can't recreate. These discoveries are real, surprising, and far beyond what most people expect. This video is packed with facts, and you won't want to miss any of them. So now, let's begin and see what history tried to tell. Number 15. Precision stone casing. Some stones don't ask for attention, they command it. Stand close to the casing blocks of Egypt's pyramids, and the seams almost disappear, as if the builders negotiated with the rock itself. No gaps, no wandering edges, no slack anywhere. The closer you look, the harder it becomes to imagine these surfaces shaped by people limited to hand tools. Ancient craftsmen worked limestone, granite, and diorite with abrasive mixtures and slurry-based grinding, steadily coaxing each block into a geometry so clean it feels intentional down to the grain. Archaeological fragments show joints that nearly erase the presence of mortar, the faces meeting with unsettling exactness. Experiments using quartz sand and rubbing stones recreate parts of the smoothing process. Yet they move slowly, lacking the crisp uniformity found on structures that have endured thousands of years. The surviving blocks point to a system of shaping, aligning, and finishing that operated with a discipline still unmatched by fully documented techniques. Number 14. Pozzolanic concrete and mortar. Imagine mixing a batch of cement 4,000 years ago, and it still outperforms half the concrete poured last century. Egypt's ancient mortar didn't just survive time, it mocked it. Researchers keep chasing the formula, but the old builders left nothing behind except walls that refused to crumble. Ancient Egyptians developed mortars and binding materials using natural resources gathered along the Nile, producing mixtures sturdy enough to secure massive stone blocks and complex masonry. The longevity of pyramids, temples, and entire architectural systems proves how remarkably durable these compounds were. Even though modern mortars rely on different chemistry, researchers examining Egyptian samples still can't fully decode the original recipes or the exact mixing and curing techniques that produced such extraordinary endurance, leaving this ancient craft partly unresolved. Number 13. Aligning pyramids to true north. You'd think hitting true north with lasers would be the modern advantage, but the Egyptians nailed it long before compasses even existed. Their pyramids stand aligned with cosmic precision, as if the sky itself whispered instructions. How they achieved that accuracy remains one of history's simplest-looking yet hardest to explain triumphs. Egyptians possessed a deep command of geometry and surveying, skills first needed to redraw land boundaries after each Nile flood. That knowledge naturally carried into architectural planning, where precision wasn't optional, it was cultural. Studies of the Giza pyramids reveal alignments astonishingly close to true north, implying careful astronomical tracking or shadow-based surveying. Scholars still debate the exact method, whether star observations or solar measurements led the process, but their repeatable accuracy across multiple monuments leaves no doubt that this wasn't guesswork. It was a practiced, systematic technique executed with unwavering discipline. Number 12. Surgical precision in mummification. Peel back the layers of mummification and you're staring at a surgical manual written by hands we still don't understand. Organ removal, preservation, anatomical mapping, performed with eerie consistency across centuries. Modern medicine admires the finesse, yet no one can fully recreate the art that kept a body intact for millennia. Ancient Egyptians mastered embalming with meticulous techniques that reveal a surprisingly sophisticated grasp of human anatomy. Their process relied on balms, resins, specialized linens, and controlled drying methods that preserved skin, bones, and even inscriptions far beyond what should be possible. Many mummies still display remarkably intact features, a testament to this refined craft. Surviving medical papyri further show they recognized spinal injuries, fractures, and various traumas, offering explanations and treatments long before Greek medicine emerged. Number 11. Large-scale water management. Egypt didn't wait for modern hydraulics to tame a river. They engineered the Nile with canals, reservoirs, and shadoufs that worked like a living machine. Their entire civilization pulsed through that system. Today's planners still marvel at how a society without engines mastered water on such a colossal scale. Egyptians relied on geometry and surveying to redraw farmland after each annual flood, turning natural cycles into predictable agricultural seasons. Their network of basins, irrigation channels, and water-lifting devices allowed them to guide floodwaters with remarkable control, securing steady harvests that fed growing populations. This wasn't a one-generation feat. It required constant upkeep, training, and coordination across centuries. The consistency of that system reveals how deeply organized their society was and how essential hydrology was to Egypt's identity and survival. Number 10. Black ink formula and papyrus writing. A single stroke on papyrus, thousands of years old, still reads like it was written this morning. That's the power of Egypt's black ink. Stable, rich, chemically stubborn. Every attempt to reverse engineer it leaves researchers impressed and slightly annoyed. Somehow, ancient scribes perfected a formula modern chemistry keeps chasing. Egyptians produced papyrus around 3000 BC, turning the plant into a writing surface used across administration, trade, and ceremonial life. Their soot-based inks, applied with reed pens or brushes, created markings that stayed intact despite climate changes and long-term storage conditions. Numerous fragments still show sharp characters and steady pigment distribution, a result of the ink's chemical balance and the structure of the papyrus sheets supporting it across centuries. Number 9. Shipbuilding with rope trusses. Egyptian shipbuilders looked at bending timbers and said, "Fine, we'll make ropes do the heavy lifting." Rope truss systems stiffened ships in ways modern naval engineers didn't rediscover for ages. Massive vessels crossed the Nile like floating architecture, held together by ingenuity that shouldn't have worked, but worked flawlessly. Ancient maritime craft relied on wooden hulls, reinforced with tensioned ropes that stabilized beams without needing metal fasteners. One of the best examples is the Khufu ship, a 43.4-meter cedar vessel from around 2500 BC, found sealed near the Great Pyramid and still remarkably intact. Its construction shows how rope trusses managed stress and flex across long wooden spans, giving the hull strength while allowing controlled movement. This approach demonstrated a practical understanding of material behavior that continues to interest modern wooden boat builders exploring historical techniques. Number 8. Glassmaking, faience, and glazing techniques. Their glass didn't just shine, it glowed with pigment perfection. Egypt's faience and early glasswork show colors so consistent that modern kilns struggled to match them without digital monitoring. Somehow, artisans with no electricity produced brilliance in every shade, leaving today's craftsmen wondering what secrets their furnaces once held. Egyptian faience began as a quartz-based paste coated in a silica-rich glaze, creating vivid blues and greens that stayed stable over thousands of years. Their glassmaking relied on silica, alkali from plant ash, and copper oxide pigments, all fired at high temperatures to form a smooth, durable surface. Across the pre-dynastic to the New Kingdom periods, faience beads, tiles, and figurines often mimicked stones like turquoise or lapis lazuli, reflecting a practiced command of chemistry, temperature control, and visual design that remained steady through generations. Number 7. Temple and monument architectural design. Whisper in some Egyptian temples, and the walls whisper back. These structures weren't just built, they were tuned. Chambers amplified chants, carried vibrations, and shaped sound in ways modern engineers can't replicate without software. Ancient priests understood acoustics with an instinct that feels almost supernatural today. Egyptian architecture fused geometry, astronomy, and surveying into a single disciplined system that supported pyramids, temples, and tombs with extraordinary proportional accuracy. Builders used measuring rods like the royal cubit, right-angle triangles, and established geometric rules to organize layouts planned generations. Some scholars propose that certain chambers may have been shaped to influence resonance or enhance ritual sound, though these acoustic concepts remain hypotheses. What is fully supported is the precision, alignment, and structural control visible across monuments, demonstrating a technical culture that applied mathematics directly to large-scale construction. Number 6. Precision copper and bronze tools. Try carving granite with copper tools, and you'll appreciate how outrageous Egypt's achievements truly were. Their chisels and saws handled stonework that should have snapped them instantly. Whatever alloys or techniques they used, the results outpaced what early metalworking should have allowed, forcing archaeologists to rethink everything they assumed about ancient craftsmanship. Egyptians used copper and arsenical copper chisels, saws, and drills across woodworking and soft stone carving, adapting their methods when they faced harder materials. For granite and diorite, they paired metal tools with abrasive slurries or sand, letting grinding and controlled abrasion do the work that copper alone couldn't manage. This approach created clean channels, polished surfaces, and controlled cuts on structures ranging from statues to obelisks. Their ability to coordinate metal hardness, abrasion speed, and tool handling across large building projects shows a practical understanding of mechanics that appears in the surviving blocks, tool marks, and unfinished pieces scattered throughout ancient sites. Number 5. Lost stone softening technique. Somehow Egyptians shaped impossible stones as if they were butter. Diorite bowls with paper-thin rims, granite cores smoother than machine cuts, results that defy the softness of their tools. Something in their process is missing from our textbooks, and every new artifact feels like a taunt from the past. Archaeological fragments from statues and architectural pieces show finishing quality that suggests the use of high-performance abrasives and slurry mixtures capable of leveling and polishing some of Earth's hardest stones. For materials like diorite, granite, and quartzite, metal on-stone carving would not have been efficient, so slurry-based abrasion likely carried most of the workload. Experiments confirm that this method can produce smooth surfaces, yet replicating the exact precision found on ancient pieces remains difficult. Researchers still debate which abrasive minerals were used, how craftsmen kept mixtures uniform, and what motions or tools produced such consistent drilling and carving patterns across large projects. Number 4. Electroplated gold layers. Gold shouldn't cling so perfectly without modern tech, yet Egyptian statues shimmer under coatings thin enough to seem painted on. Their gilding feels effortless from a distance, but up close it turns puzzling, a kind of metalwork that behaves far more advanced than its age should allow. Egyptians used gilding across statues, jewelry, and decorative elements, applying gold over stone, wood, and metal through mercury amalgam techniques that bonded thin films to the surface. The process involved brushing on the amalgam and heating it until the gold settled into a stable layer. Excavated artifacts show this method across a wide range of objects, with the coating's thinness and uniformity appearing across different materials and scales. Attempts to reproduce the technique with limited tools frequently produce uneven coverage, pointing to controlled steps within the ancient process that managed both the mixture and the substrate during application. Number 3, Egyptian blue nanopigment. This pigment behaves like it were engineered in a lab last week. Egyptian blue doesn't just color, it glows under infrared like a tiny technological wonder. Scientists studying its nanoparticle structure keep uncovering new properties, yet the ancients produced it by the kilogram, flawlessly, centuries before chemistry had names for anything. Egyptian blue is recognized as the earliest synthetic pigment, appearing around 3250 BCE and created through a deliberate high-temperature process. Its color comes from cuprorivate, formed by heating silica, calcium, a copper source, and alkali flux to roughly 1000 degrees Celsius before controlled cooling. Recent laboratory reproductions show that slight adjustments in materials or cooling speed shift the pigment's luminosity and shade. This sensitivity explains why ancient samples vary subtly across objects and time periods, and why researchers analyzing different fragments track how kiln conditions and ingredient ratios influence the final appearance during production. Number 2, Obelisk transport and erection system. Picture a 300-ton stone needle raised upright without cranes, engines, or steel. The Egyptians didn't just move obelisks, they choreographed them. Modern crews attempt reconstructions and fail spectacularly. Whatever system they used blended physics, manpower, and sheer brilliance in ways our most advanced rigs still can't replicate. At Aswan and other quarry sites, unfinished obelisks remain partially attached to the bedrock, including one estimated to exceed 1,000 tons. Tool grooves cut along its sides show how workers shaped and isolated monoliths directly from the ground. Archaeologists study these surfaces to understand the sequence used for carving, freeing, and shifting stones of such size without mechanical lifting devices. Attempts to reproduce the process with ancient-style tools produce limited progress, and each trial highlights specific gaps in knowledge regarding the coordination required for movement and orientation during construction. Number 1, ancient core drilling technique. A drill mark frozen in granite shouldn't look like it came from high-speed machinery, but Egyptian cores do exactly that. Perfect spirals, deep bores, smooth walls. Replicas using copper and sand fall embarrassingly short. Something about their pressure control or abrasive method remains beyond our reach, buried with their workshops. Archaeological evidence shows that Egyptians used hollow tubular drills made of copper or arsenical copper, paired with abrasive materials that enabled them to penetrate granite, quartzite, and other difficult stones. Many recovered cores display regular groove patterns, hinting at a controlled rotational motion rather than random scraping. Sculptures and architectural elements often reveal a second stage in which abrasive slurries and rubbing stones refine the drilled surfaces, blending the cuts into polished interiors. This multi-step approach required awareness of how stone responded to friction, moisture, and abrasive density. Modern experiments mimic parts of the technique using copper bits and sand-based mixtures, yet they struggle to achieve the same uniformity or drilling rate observed in original artifacts. I'm genuinely glad you shared this time with me. If you want more deep dives into history's most challenging mysteries, make sure you subscribe and help this community grow. Drop a like, leave a comment, and share the video. Thanks for watching and giving us your precious time.